by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Now a base hit can tie the ball game.
And he's going to line it into left field. One hop to Quan. Vance Wilson's going to wave him home. Here's the throw. It is up the line.
So the Royals tie at 3-3, and they have a man at third with only one out.
Top of the order, and Michael Garcia blasted to left field. Garcia commits to second base, and that throw is offline by Stephen Quan, and the Royals take the lead and have a runner in scoring position.
There's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. I mean, this is very much a highlights-based sport.
It's an emotional game, so, that's all part of it. The guys they pull for each other, they get after each other, and that's all part of it. When guys do good, they jump around and tell them how good they did, so it's all part of it.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into today's episode of Sports Day. My name is Brant Daughtry. We've got a great show for you today. I'm the host of this fine program. Landon Winkler's over there on the computers, keeping things on air. And Landon is working on something right now, so we're going to let him work on something. But, as always, it is time for the sounds of the past 24 hours, as we do every day here on this show. Leading off, the Royals got a much-needed comeback win over the Guardians last night as Nick Lofton and Michael Garcia came through with back-to-back RBIs to go up 4-3 in the seventh. Carlos Estevez came on and got his 39th save of the year, which paces the major leagues. The Royals are now 4 games back of a wildcard spot and a half game behind Cleveland. They go for a series split tonight with coverage starting at 5:30. You can hear that right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. That's going to be a fun one. Last night was a fun one. And this is, okay, you got that win. That was pretty darn close to a must-win game for the Royals. And the fact that they were able to pull it out, I think, is huge. Again, if they can split this series with Cleveland, I think it opens the door for them to be okay losing the series with the Phillies. And then, you've got the last week of the season after that, and we'll see if they can make the final playoff push. All right, I know people around here don't care about basketball, but this is still an interesting story, and I think it's indicative of the way sports are going. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver defends the NBA's media rights deal, saying that basketball is a, quote, highlight sport, and fans that can't afford every platform to watch the league can catch up on highlights on social medias as a replacement for watching the games. I don't know about everybody listening to this. I hate that line of thinking so much. I understand wanting to get a recap and watching, a 10 to 15-minute highlight video of a game that you missed. I understand that. But to say that it's a replacement for actually watching the game is a bizarre thing for a league commissioner to say, in my opinion. And I think that the NBA deserves better. I think the NBA puts out a better product than that line of thinking deserves. And I would think that if I'm a commissioner of the league, I want as many eyeballs on as many games as possible. And I understand that TV deals are a big part of sports now and that you're going to go with the highest bidder. But the fact is, it's going to get to a point that it's a little bit ridiculous. And I feel like we've already reached that point. And for the commissioner of one of the major leagues in American sports to say, hey, you don't have to watch the game in person or live or while it's actually happening. You don't need to watch the full game. Just to get an understanding, go to YouTube and watch a 5-minute synopsis, and that's just as good as watching the game. That's a bizarre thing for a commissioner to say to me. So I hope that he's getting properly blasted for saying something like that. And I like Adam Silver. I think he's done a lot of good for the NBA, but that particular line of thinking just it bothers me a little bit. And lastly, the Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid talks about the emotional outburst from his team during the Week 1 loss to the Chargers in Brazil, saying that the team is still together and that football is an emotional game. When things are going well, those emotions are channeled in the right direction. And every coach who has ever coached a game and has had a loss where his players get frustrated has had to say something along these lines. I have no problem with what Andy Reid said here. These are professional athletes, but they're playing maybe the most emotional sport in America. Football is it's a lot of testosterone going all the time. And these guys are a million miles an hour, and the emotional toll that it takes on these players is something to behold. So with that being said, I think that it's never a good look to be fighting on the sidelines, but I also understand where he's coming from, and I think that the Chiefs are far from done, and this is something that happens in the sport at all levels. When things aren't going well, guys get frustrated with each other. So I'm with Andy Reid on this. It's a part of the game. Certainly not the end of the world, and I think they'll be fine moving forward. As far as being together as a team, now, how do they handle the lack of wide receiver depth going forward? That's a conversation that Webby and I had yesterday. Did they trade for Tyreek Hill? Webby certainly thinks they shouldn't. Personally, I don't think they shouldn't. I think Tyreek Hill's not worth the money he would cost. He's not worth what you would have to give up to trade him. And I don't think he's worth it in that locker room. But it's certainly something they could look at. Sports Day today is presented by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. Also brought to you by Equity Bank. Here when you need us, bank local. Save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. We got to take our first break. When we come back, we have Aaron Beck and a couple of the players from the Great Bend High School football team. They'll join us in studio right after this break. You're listening to Sports Day, live from the Mayo Money Management Studio here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Barton Community College has college classes that fit your life and your budget. With 5 flexible start dates, Barton Online is perfect for picking up a class or earning your associate's degree at less than half the cost of a university. Study anytime, from anywhere. Save time, save money. Start strong with Barton Online. Ready to take the next step? Visit online.bartoncccc.edu and enroll today.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brand Daughtry here in the captain's chair, joined now by head coach of the Great Bend Panthers, Aaron Beck, also joined by linebacker Cale Kern and wide receiver Hayden Kelly. Guys, thanks for taking the time to come in. Is everybody doing good? Everybody feeling good after being 1-0?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about that game, guys. Coach, you came in here last week and said, week 1 last year, felt pretty good about things. It was nice to be 1-0, but your team, you thought, lacked a little bit of focus.
Yeah, I thought this week, I had a feeling these guys were going to come in sharp and ready to roll, and they proved me right as far as execution. Even to start the game, gave up a couple first downs, but then kind of having a momentum swinging play with Cooper's pick 6, and then the offense to come out and put together a nice drive to score. I think they, after them snapping it over their head. So there was just a couple big plays to start that thing out, and I thought our kids really executed and then settled in, played well defensively, offensively, and these two right here were a huge part of it. Both had monster games on the defensive side of the ball. Were co-defensive player of the week for us. Cale, I think, had 12 tackles. Hayden with 8. Huge play in that towards the end of the game with the strip tackle, fumble, recovery by Hayden, taking it 95 yards. So just a lot of big plays in that game that really set the tone for the season, hopefully.
And, that's something I talked with Mike Hesher, your play-by-play guy, earlier today, and he said the thing that stood out to him the most from all involved, was the big play. It was the fact that when you guys needed something, it came up. So I'll throw it to you guys. You were the defensive stars of the game. A scoop and score, a pick six, both of them coming inside the red zone. That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, the big plays really help us as a offense and as a team. They really change the game, and kind of brings energy back to the defense. You know, you get pinned down, you're at the 5, big plays happen, kind of brings energy back to everybody.
Yeah, and to be down that close, have your backs against the wall, and not just prevent them from scoring, but get something out of it yourselves. I mean, that's, like you said, Coach, that's an early momentum swing, and it set the tone for everybody.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of a situation in the game where we were starting to make some substitutions, you know, trying to get guys out of there, but at the same time, we're all prideful enough that we didn't want them to score, and so for Cale to make that play, to shoot through that gap and just get his big old paw right on the nose of that ball and strip it out, and Hayden just perfectly scoop and scored that thing, and have some very savvy moves on his way to the end zone, and it was a fun way. But you know, there were obviously things within the game when you go back and watch it as a staff, when you go back and watch it with the kids the next morning, that we definitely need to clean up. Offensively, I thought fairly efficient. Right before half, I didn't love the way we had some time left. I kind of wanted to work a 2-minute offense, but we needed to get a first down. You get a holding penalty, then a false start, and you kind of back up, and then you're sitting there going, are they going to use their timeouts? And I was kind of surprised they didn't to force us to punt, and so we were just able to kind of run that thing out to go into the half up 28-7. But it was kind of just one of those things that's something we have to learn from as an offense to utilize those types of situations, because it's going to come up later in the year. It may come up this Friday where we have to put together something to go score, whether it's at the end of the game or the end of the half. And then defensively, I think these guys would agree that the number one thing is we got to improve in our run defense. It's just an area that we got to get a little more sound. I think we gave up a kid ran for 100 yards, and that's not really who we are and we ever want to be. So we're gonna make sure we do everything we can to help fix that. So I mean, that's good. You want to come out of a game where you feel like on the scoreboard maybe you dominated, but at the same time we got to improve.
That was something I was going to say. Is that's perfect for a coach of a football team. Is a week 1 win, relatively stress-free as far as football games go, but you still have something to talk about on Monday where you can go, here's where we weren't quite good enough. Here's where we want to get better.
Yeah, and I'll speak for the offensive line. When you have 3 new faces up front that have never played any varsity football, that was an area that we're definitely going to have to clean things up and get a little better. But they will with time, with practice, with reps. That's something that we're looking forward to. And I know defensively, I would say the same thing. It's probably more the guys up front. These guys have been doing it for a long time, and so is a lot of their counterparts at their position groups, but just as a whole, just trying to settle in and make sure we're all on the same page.
Cale, I've been wanting to ask you this question for a little while now. You're playing next to your brother at that inside linebacker spot. What does that mean to you? How cool is it to be able to play next to him, and how has he helped you out?
Yeah, it's been awesome because my freshman year, I wasn't exactly, I don't think, ready yet to play varsity football, and then he helped me going into week 1, and then obviously people like Hayden, me and Hayden are cousins too, so I've always been really close with Hayden, and I know if I have a question I can talk to Hayden or Trenton or Coach Letta, Coach Beck about anything, so it really helps me knowing that I have a tight group of people to talk to.
And Hayden, you got the scoop and score, you're co-defensive player of the game. Did it just open up for you where you just wide open down the sideline and going, good night, I'm about to score a touchdown and I'm playing defense right now? They didn't let me play defense when I was in high school because I wasn't fast enough. So it's just, I've always thought, you get the ball, it's on the ground, you pick it up, and you're going, I get to score here. That's got to be just the best feeling in the world.
It's a pretty incredible feeling. I mean, Cale, amazing tackle. That ball plopped down to wide open hole. I was the only one there to scoop and score, and then I wasn't getting tackled, I could tell you that. I wanted to score that real bad, and it's a great feeling.
Sure. Well, guys, let's preview the upcoming matchup, Olathe South. It's a long drive for you guys. That's what, 4 hours, Coach?
Yeah, it'll take us probably about every bit of 4 hours. We'll kind of take a halfway stop at Junction City High School and get out and do a walkthrough and eat and get these guys moving a little bit to kind of split the trip up. But yeah, it's a little different territory for us. We're used to making some bus trips, but more towards Liberal, Garden City, that area. So it will be a little different, and I think these guys are excited for it. I think these guys are excited for the opportunity to go up there and play in front of the student section of Olathe South and to play in the heart of Kansas City to hopefully prove some things to some teams across the state that these guys are for real. It's going to be a battle there. Olathe South's a really good football team, and what a week 2 matchup for us to kind of learn about ourselves a lot here because up front they are big, they are long, they are fast. That's probably the biggest thing that you can't really simulate is their length. Just a lot of guys on their edge that can really press you and run. And then in the secondary, they have some kids that are some playmakers. We've seen some of them last year when they came to town. So they bring back some guys in the secondary, but their guy that kind of makes it go is their quarterback. That was only his second start last year when they came to town. So he's got a whole year and some under his belt now. And he does a great job in the zone read and the power read game, rides that running back well, makes good decisions with the ball, and then isn't afraid to pull it down and run. And that'll be the big thing is making sure these guys are rallying to the football, and I know they're ready for it.
And this is an Olathe South team that has a new coach, first-year head coach, and kind of has that program jumping a little bit. And they won 63-7 in week 1 over. Gosh, I can't remember who they were playing, but
one of the directional schools of Shawnee Mission West. Yeah, Shawnee Mission West,
right.
and that's another thing that's tough. When you get a new coach, when you play a team that didn't give us a real good look because they run the double wing, not really something we run as an offense. So that makes it a little more challenging. They were you guys would say very vanilla offensively.
Pretty basic.
Yeah, didn't have to be because they were able to just line up and do some things. So you're going to see some new wrinkles, especially week 1 to week 2. You always kind of see that in high school football and really across the nation at all levels. That jump from week 1 to week 2. Teams are going to start putting in more. You're going to find out a lot about yourselves from week 1 to week 2. So I know these guys are up for the challenge and ready for the task in hand.
What do you guys, I know they're running something different now, but what do you guys remember from last year? Who are the players that stand out in your memories?
They had a good wide receiver, I believe, and then they had some big skill guys that they lost, I believe. So I think it's pretty much a new team with the same core guys, but about the same team.
I gotcha. So, Coach, they come in last year. Hesh wanted me to ask this question, and I think it's a good one. Do you think the long drive bothered them? Because, they're 4 hours on the bus over here from Kansas City. They're used to traveling no more than 45 minutes or so in that metro area. Do you think that was a factor in last year's game, and especially the start that you guys got off to?
Yeah, I think it really was. And if you look at their season last year, they started week 1 versus 5A powerhouse Mill Valley and went toe-to-toe with them. So I think they were a little shell-shocked when they came out here and felt like they were kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And then the way that game started, they fumbled the opening kickoff. We score. We get another fumble, double pass over the top of their head, score, another stop, score. So it was 20-0 before I think fans were even in the seats. And once they settled in, it was kind of a back-and-forth game. And I don't even remember the final score, 28-14, somewhere around there, where – I think they were. I think it was a little shell shock. So we're kind of coming into their home turf. They're going to feel like this is a little bit of a revenge game for some of those kids that were maybe on that team that were, probably thought they were going to come in here and control it. So, like Cale said, they did lose some the Max Armstrong kid, their middle linebacker and running back that played in the Shrine Bowl. I think went on to Butler. He was a dang good football player, and so I think they're still trying to figure out who their running backs are, who their middle linebackers are going to be in those areas. But they got some skill in the Harris kid on the edge, whether he'll play corner or receiver. I think he'll do a little bit of both, and with some guys up front that I know have some offers out there at some big time schools. So it'll be a good matchup.
What is it like to play the schools from these larger cities that just have more bodies to choose from? Again, talking with Hesh earlier today, and I'm going to play that conversation later in the show. He told me that they don't have anybody that plays both ways, or nobody that starts both ways. They're too deep, has some of the same names, but if you're starting on one side of the ball, you're getting a rest when they go on defense. So is that tougher? What is that matchup like for you as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at just school sample size, I think they're over twice the size of us as a student body. So obviously they're gonna choose from a bigger group. Now at the same time, I think a school like that, Olathe South, they probably have a lot more kids that maybe only play one sport. So that's what I love about these kids and in our pedigree at Great Bend High School is that our kids do everything, and they take that into a Friday night. They do everything for us on a Friday night, and that's kind of our identity. When we step onto the field, we got a bunch of kids that are going to play their tails off, and it doesn't matter who you're playing against. But at the same time, I think it is exciting to go up there and see how the eastern half of the state, so to speak, plays, and what an opportunity.
What's the healthier team like? I know there were a couple of cramps that you had. It's week one. Of course, you're going to have cramps, but is everybody else mostly on their feet?
Yeah. I mean, Trent's getting old and getting some miles on those tires, but aside from that, I think we're healthy. Like you said, the cramps were kind of a nuisance, and that's something that Kevin Sapezi, I know, did spend a lot of time and a lot of research on, and just trying to talk to these kids about trying to meet that max threshold of output throughout the week, so we can try to simulate it on Friday night. It'll be impossible because we just have so many kids that do go both ways. If we try to simulate that in practice, we would have nothing in the tank for Friday. But I think we're going to be in a lot better place. I feel like we are after this week's preparation of practice, and hydration will be key because it is going to be a lot hotter tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We ain't going to have the comfort of the 50, 60 degree weather. So hopefully that is something that we can get past here. Weeks 1 and 2 and 3, and as you move forward in the season, and just getting in more game shape is what I'd call it. Not that these kids aren't in good condition, good shape. It's more game shape.
It's impossible in practice to simulate a game, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't create that same condition.
Yeah, well, these guys too, they just mentally, they get so up for these games. I mean, they are always so locked in. So sometimes that is a whole nother toll on your body as a 17-year-old kid, just having those emotions. So I know they're excited to, I think, go up there to the Kansas City suburbs and show them what we can do, hopefully.
Guys, looking forward to it. Looking forward to hearing from you again next week, Coach, and hopefully you're 2-0. And you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on Sports Day, we'll talk with Cole Reif of Kansas Sports Chatter. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmy's, make it happen.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at the Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend, or check out the all-new website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the Rec.
Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Get on the fast track to earn your national certification with Barton Community College's new Medical Lab Assistant program. In less than 1 year, you'll gain hands-on training to work in medical labs, clinics, and hospitals, delivering critical patient care. With flexible learning, including 100% online courses and lab hours at your local hospital, you can grow your career or start fresh. Healthcare needs skilled professionals like you. Enroll now at mla.bartoncccc.edu.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry, now joined on the phone by Cole Reif of Kansas Sports Chatter, former employee of this very company. Cole, you've made a lot of appearances on this show, and I just want to say thanks for continuing it, and thanks for keeping up your weekly updates, man. How you doing?
Hey, not bad. I appreciate the invite. It'd be weird not to be on the show, so I appreciate the continued coverage.
Well, you're doing a whole lot of it right now, so figured your expertise would be a big help. So let's get right into it. This result, not shocking, but kind of impressive. Over in Great Bend, hosting McPherson, Panthers win that one 42-7. I spoke with Coach Beck in the week leading up to this game, and he said that last year was not a bad game for them by any means, but they didn't look as focused as they should have. It feels like the Panthers had a lot more focus in this game.
Yeah, I think that's always tough, too. I mean, even you got more experience this year for Great Bend, but it gets tough when you're the clear favorites and you're supposed to go out there and dominate. Everyone's expecting you to win the game and then to actually go out and execute that. I mean, now, this coaching staff does a great job. Aaron Beck, like you mentioned, and I think the players are locked in and focused, and they realize what can be this year. But, I mean, truly taking that cliche of one game at a time is difficult. So when you get, you got a bunch of teenagers that kind of see the writing on the wall of what the season could be. So I think for them to go out there and truly get one of those wins where they were very dominant and looked sharp, especially for a week one game, there's always stuff to clean up. But for a week one game to get that win, was really nice for Great Bend, and especially considering, McPherson might not necessarily be the powerhouse they were years ago, but it's still a team that has that tradition, that has that success, and as a no-name brand. So, I think getting a win against McPherson in week one in the fashion that they did, and kind of everyone getting a piece of that one as well, I think that bodes well for Great Bend. That was, I don't want to say a perfect start to the season, but that was a really good start for Coach Beck and his crew.
I agree. And, looking at the big rival of the Panthers, Hayes had themselves a whale of a game. They beat Derby 22-21. That felt kind of like the Goliath matchup of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I heard somebody say that, that's maybe one of the best road wins, maybe even one of the best wins recently for Hayes in their program history. And, Derby might not necessarily be the same Derby that we've seen in the past, but it's still Derby. Like, they're loaded with talent, and to get that victory in the fashion that they did and had to go 96 yards toward the end of the game with, like, under 4 minutes to go when they started that drive inside their own 5-yard line, and to go all the way down the field and score with like 5 seconds left, and then to get the conversion as well to get that win. Now, it looks like they suffered a tough injury on that 2-point conversion. I think people that saw that video could see that on McGuire, but still to get that win for Coach Tony Crow and his crew, like that was an impressive way to start. And anytime you get a win against Derby, that bodes pretty well.
Let's move down to the CKL 2A, the game that I was calling and you were in attendance for and would have been calling a year ago, Hoisington and Pratt. Hoisington gets revenge on Pratt, and Cole, I thought looked really impressive in this game.
Yeah, early on, I've always, especially for a week one game, there's always, I don't want to say there's jitters, but there's just a sense of you kind of have to settle in. I feel like that happens every week. Like, even if you're in week 7 or week 8, you can scout and scout and scout, and coach can tell you exactly what you're going to see. But until you actually see that team live and get some reps and get some snaps, it's a little bit difficult. And I think you saw that on both the opening drives. Like, Hoisington marched down the field, looked really, really sharp. Unfortunately, ended in a missed field goal. And then Pratt came down and had big chunk plays, ended up scoring, and took the lead early on in that game. So, but I think after that first drive from Pratt, you kind of saw, okay, now the players, they settled in, they realized what they wanted to do, and then it looked really good. I mean, I think there was a number of players that really stepped up in that ball game, but I think defensively, trying to contain, like, that Leggett kid is really good, and he's just a sophomore. So, I mean, he's going to be really good for Pratt for a couple more years. But I think Hoisington did a really good job shutting them down. And then offensively, I thought Marty did a phenomenal job in his first career start as a varsity quarterback. Few passes a little bit off target, but he had good connections. Carson Mason had a couple, even the one that was incomplete, where he kind of rolled over that defender, looked like it might have been a completion. So I thought Marty did a sensational job in his first start. Taylor Morales did well. And the one thing I will say, I was interested, we talked about how he's going to use Brody Fanninsteel, but, like, watch out. Like, if Hoisington has a good team and then you give Zach Baird and that coaching staff a toy like Brody, like, oh, man, like, I don't know. I'm excited to continue to see the maturation of how Brody fits into this system. But after week one, it just seems like he can go anywhere, and that's nice to have that option.
And the last of the schools we carry, the Larned Indians, they fall to Smoky Valley 8-6. Cole, correct me if I'm wrong. The way I understand this game is Larned took an early lead, 6-0. They held on to that lead for most of the game, but Smoky Valley got a big play at the very end of the game and converted on the 2-point conversion to win it 8-6. Is that the story of the game?
Yeah, I think the scoring all came in that third quarter, and then it was pretty much a stalemate in that fourth quarter, but it was 0-0 at halftime. And we mentioned, Larned, they had their struggles offensively last year, and that was a big problem trying to, become a more ground and pound team. And, those offensive struggles showed up in that week one game against Smoky Valley. So, yeah, I mean, they put together a nice drive. I know Miller got their quarterback for Larned, got banged up a little bit, but, still came back out there and tried to, push Larned to the finish line, just unable to get it done on that 2-point conversion. And in Smoky Valley, the difference, they were able to convert their 2-point conversion and win it by 2. So a tough one to start things out for the season. They have another one coming up this Friday with Hillsboro that you would say obtainable for Larned. Hillsboro is replacing a decent amount from a year ago. So it's another one within reach, I think, for the Larned Indians. But, still that offense is a work in progress.
All right, let's move ahead to this upcoming Friday. This should be a good one. Great Bend and Olathe South both coming in at 1-0, both put up 40 in their season-opening victories. So talk a little bit about Olathe South and what they have and what people are looking forward to, because, again, this just scoreboard watching, this feels like a massive matchup.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, anytime you take on one of the Kansas City schools, it's going to be a challenge because they're going to have talent. And Olathe South, that was a fun game last year for Great Bend at home, and this is your first time on the road, and this kind of starts a little bit of a road stretch for Great Bend to see how this talented of a team will handle that, and expect big things. But Olathe, they have a new coach. Michael Allen slides in. So he's his first-year coach. He spent a couple of stints as an assistant coach, but I think at North KC High School he was up there. So he has some familiarity with the area, but still a brand new coach for Olathe South. And talent-wise, Gage Lee comes back at quarterback, and he was kind of more of a rushing quarterback, if you will, a year ago. So he has another year under his belt. But they replaced a decent amount. So they had a pretty big graduating class from a year ago. So, obviously Great Bend, we mentioned they're going to be the favorite in every matchup until maybe they hit that Hayes High game, but even that one they might be. But, I still think Olathe South is still one of those programs that, it's Kansas City talents. And not that means everything, but at the same time, they have the talent there. But having to replace so many pieces, I think should give Great Bend a pretty good edge.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that Hayes High team. They are hosting Choctaw out of Oklahoma. This is another team from the South coming up across the state line, and that's just interesting to me. Do you know anything about Choctaw out of Oklahoma, and how should this game shape up?
Oh, this is big. This is a big matchup. Choctaw is, they're one of the better teams in their classification in the state of Oklahoma. They have state championships under their belt. So, this isn't one of those, we're just going to schedule someone from out of state and we're going to get an easy win. So this will be a really good one for Hayes High. We mentioned that injury to McGuire. I haven't heard the severity of that by any means, but I think more important for Hayes, this is their brand new stadium opener. So this will be their home opener of the season. And what a way to start it with a new opponent. But, this will be a solid opponent for Hayes High. And their month of September is pretty challenging. Their non-conference schedule before they hit WAC play is pretty good. And so the month of September is going to be a challenge week in and week out for Hayes. But they've shown that, you beat Derby, you can go out and beat anybody. So I wouldn't count them out by any means.
This game, I feel like, should be really interesting. At least it was last year. 28-24, Hoisington lost to Heston last year. Both teams 1-0 coming into this matchup. Tell me a little bit about the Swathers.
That was a heartbreaker last year because I think Zach, going into last season, knowing what he had and also knowing the strength of schedule he had with, Cheney coming up and then Scott City coming up, like this one was really important. I think that they really won it last year. It was at home and they felt like it was, again, I'll use the word obtainable. They had the injury to Jason Robinson, though. That was the first full game. Really after the Pratt injury that they're playing without J-Rob and, and had the lead late in the ball game, but could not come up with a stop on that final drive for Heston as they ended up winning it toward the end, like you said, by 4. So that was a heartbreaker, I think, for Hoisington, especially knowing like the upcoming schedule that they had with Scott City was going to be tough and then Cheney was going to be tough. So they really wanted to avoid that, that 0-3, 0-4 start. And so now, if you look at Heston, Jarek Humphreys comes back, and he was a guy that was kind of thrown into the mix as a dual quarterback situation a couple of years ago. But now he's that full-time guy, threw for over 1,600 yards a year ago. So he's got some pretty good stats. And really, I think Heston, this might be the most experienced team that Hoisington faces. I'm not going to say it's going to be the most talented team that they play, but Heston has the most returning talent of anybody on Hoisington's schedule. So this is a big one, especially for that first road game of the season for the Cards.
Yeah, and I've started doing my research, making my board for that game Friday night, and I did notice that their leading rusher from last year is gone. Seemed like the guy who kind of carried them offensively. He graduates, and I don't know what they have coming back, but that feels like it should be Advantage Cardinals, at least on paper.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of their experience will be up front for Heston, and that's if you want to win ball games, you got to have the Hogs. You got to have the guys up front, and Heston has that experience. They have an all-state selection guy up there up front on the offensive line. So and Heston's Heston. They're another one of those teams that in the CKL, they've been good year in and year out. Tyson Bowerly. He's closing on a decade there now as head coach at Heston. So, they know what they're doing. But, man, Hoisington looked sharp, Brant. You saw it firsthand. They looked really good, and that was a nice win for Pratt after Pratt had kind of got them the last couple of years. So, I think Hoisington's going to be focused, and they'll be ready to go on the road.
Last of the schools that we carry on our airwaves, Larned is traveling to Hillsboro, two teams that started out 0-1, and you previewed this a little bit, said it should be another tough matchup for Larned.
Yeah, I mean, Hillsboro, they're not, blowing the doors off anybody right now. And they ended up scoring 12 points in their season 1 loss, last Friday night. And, they bring back a decent running back in Josiah Gooch. It will be coming back for Hillsboro. But, yeah, I know this is a Trojans team that's still kind of reloading a little bit. They had a graduation of some all-league selections in the CKL. So, for Larned, I think, you kind of keep your chin up. You lost a tough one in a 2-point margin to Smoky Valley, but here's another week to get better, and and Coach Keith will get that team going, and hopefully pick up a win against Hillsboro.
All right, let's look back at last week one more time. Give me a result, and it can be any classification, anywhere in the state. What was something that you thought was significant?
We talked about it, but Hayes High beating Derby was pretty sharp. Like, obviously we're big Great Bend fans, and we're like our area teams. But as far as like a statewide brush, a statewide stroke of it, man, I thought the Hayes High getting the win against Derby on the road to start out a season, and Derby has all those state championships to their name, and Hayes able to kind of grind that one out after falling behind by a couple scores. I thought that win was pretty big. I will say the preview of this Friday night's game, I know it's only week 2, so you can't get too excited, but Victoria at Central Plains, that's a big one because Victoria, a lot of folks are really high on Victoria to, maybe knock off Axtell this year in their division, and then you have Central Plains, who returns a lot after making it to the state championship game a year ago, and they picked up a win last Friday night. So a couple of 1-0 teams. I don't want to overly hype a week 2 matchup, but Victoria Central Plains, I think it's been a while since we've seen both teams on maybe similar levels, and a lot of times you hype up these matchups, and then you come out Friday night and realize, okay, well, this team was probably still a lot better. But on paper, Central Plains Victoria, that's a big one in Claflin this Friday.
And this upcoming weekend, where will your eyes be as far as statewide matchups?
That's a good question.
You can give multiple answers to this.
Yeah. Obviously I got the local eyes, so seeing how Hoisington will fare against Heston on the road, but then also so I'll be listening to you on that one, and I want to keep tabs of Great Bend. But as far as other, the Hayes High game, I hate to keep bringing up the Indians on the show, but that'll be an interesting at home for them. I thought the WAC did pretty well to start things out. The only loss was Garden City, but they took on Manhattan. So now they take on Olathe Northwest, Liberal, Dodge City. WAC should be fun. I mean, I think Great Bend and Hayes High are still the clear favorites, but, all those teams, I think, have a chance to get off to a pretty good start this year. So I'll be keeping tabs of the WAC, I think, this Friday.
And, Cole, if people want more of Kansas Sports Chatter, how can they get it?
Yeah, pretty easy. You can just do a quick search, or you can go to YouTube, Kansas Sports Chatter on YouTube, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. So check it out. We'll have some area guests on there. I'll have an interview with Greg Maxwell, volleyball coach for Ellenwood. He'll be on the show probably sometime next week, and continue to find those Central Kansas athletes and coaches, and we'll keep putting them on the show.
Cole, thanks for coming on today, man. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Brian. Have safe travels to Heston Friday.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And thank you for coming on the show. That's Cole Reif, Kansas Sports Chatter, here on Sports Day. Big thanks to Cole for joining me. I love having him as a resource. I love the people that live in this part of the country that are just solely dedicated to doing that, to keeping track of the local stuff, and they make it their career. They make careers out of it. Cole used to do a whole lot of stuff for us here at Eagle Media. He's off. That's just what he's doing now. He wanted to focus on Central West Kansas sports, and he's made that his bag, and he's been fantastic doing it. Wanted to play that interview yesterday, but kind of ran out of time, mostly because Webby and myself went long trying to kind of having a similar conversation. And big thanks to Cole for recording that interview with me. He's such a good dude. And, it was interesting. When I got hired here at Eagle, I was still living in Auburn, and Cole was the first person to reach out, other than Dakota, who I had done my our general manager, who I had done my interviews through. And Cole was the first person to reach out once I actually got hired and said, "Hey, man, I'm Cole. I work with Eagle in Great Bend. Let me know if you need anything." He was the first to kind of say, "Hey, let me know if you need any help, if you want help moving in, if you need help traveling this way, whatever." And he was such a nice dude. And obviously didn't have, I don't know if he had this planned yet or not, but just salt of the earth kind of person. And, I think the world's better with more Cole Reifs in it. but he's also super knowledgeable. And this is going to be a really interesting game, a really fun game between Olathe South and Great Bend. I think that Hesh told me earlier today, again, we're going to push that conversation to tomorrow, and we'll have the kind of a Friday show previewing that Great Bend matchup and a couple other things on it. But Hesh told me earlier today, Olathe South in that game against, who did they play? Shawnee Mission West. Against Shawnee Mission West, that they had 3 rushers that had over 100 yards. And this is a team like Great Bend that won against Shawnee Mission West. They won big with a lot of explosive plays. And I think that's going to make this a super fun matchup. You've got, I think that Olathe South is a 6A school from a larger city. The schools from those metro areas, they have such a deep pool of students to pull from. And Coach Beck talked about it when he was in here earlier. This is going to be a matchup that tests Great Bend, but it's just going to be 2 contrasting styles, right? Where Great Bend is a bit of a smaller school. They've got some exceptional athletes. They're going to play both ways. That, you're going to have a bunch of guys in this game play probably close to 70, 80, 90 snaps, depending on how long the offenses are out there. And it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition between these 2 teams, but Olathe South is not going to have to deal with that. They have guys that are going to play on both sides of the ball, but nobody that starts both ways. And they'll be able to rotate those guys in. They'll be fresher. And obviously, this is a coach that has a lot of people excited around Olathe South. I think that it's going to lead to a really fun matchup. If excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. If Kansas high school football is anything like Georgia high school football or Alabama high school football, traveling to play these metro area schools is going to be a bit of an adventure for Great Bend, because these schools have no shortage of talent. They have so many kids in the building that all of the great athletes definitely want to come play football. And you have these guys that are just superhuman out there, and it's going to be a test for Great Bend. And they believe in themselves. The confidence that follows them is just obvious to see. They're a kind of team that, they feel like they can beat anybody. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how tomorrow goes. I'll be keeping up with that result to the best of my ability. I'll be over in Heston calling the Hoisington Cardinals contest against the Heston Swathers, which is a great nickname now that I know what a swather is. And, so just to promote tomorrow's show, speaking of the schools that we carry, I will have on Brady Keith on tomorrow's show. He and I will have a phone conversation later today, and I'll play that during tomorrow's show. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. But anyway, Great Bend and Olathe South, a massive one in the state of Kansas tomorrow. A 6A school and a 5A school, 4 hours apart, but both massive programs. Olathe South with a new head coach who's got a lot of people excited. It's going to be a fun one. Sports Day is brought to you by C&A Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison. Also by Marmy's, in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. And also, because I had to mix breaks before that last interview, also, Sports Day is brought to you by the Marmy Auto Group by Equity Bank, adding value for customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larded. See the locations tab at equitybank.com for more locations. And finally, by Sutherland's, helping you build it better since 1917. From quality lumber, plywood, and OSB to cabinets, plumbing, hardware, and power tools, they have everything you need to get the job done. Visit Sutherland's on 10th Street. Okay, yesterday's show we ended in kind of a hurry because Landon and I got into a 4 or 5 minute conversation about the McDonald's in Branson, Missouri that's opening up a buffet. And I feel like that was really high quality radio. But what I promised that we didn't really get a chance to do was look at this upcoming weekend schedule of college football games, where to find them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our final break of the show, and when we come back, I'm actually going to hold up my end of the bargain. We're going to look over in detail the coming college football slate for this upcoming weekend. We'll do that after this break. You're listening to Sports Day live from the Mayo Money Management Studio here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at the Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend, or check out the all-new website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Welcome back. Brant Daughtry here with you live. We've got Landon Winkler. He's over in the corner. He's running the cameras and the computer. Landon, wave for the people. Landon's waving. If you can't see him, you can find our feed on YouTube. You can also find it on greatbendpost.com. Click on the sports tab, and where it says Sports Day, and in parentheses, it's got the word watch. You can watch. Crazy how that works. Sports Day is brought to you by Kern Floor Service. Whether you need a new ceramic, porcelain, or natural stone floors, our knowledgeable and friendly flooring experts are here to help you find the perfect floor for your lifestyle, home decor, and budget. Visit the Great Bend Showroom at 908 Coolidge to see, touch, and feel the latest styles. Also brought to you by Cody Crook of Red Cedar Land Company. Whether you're looking to sell your land or find the right property to buy, Cody takes pride in understanding your goals and making the process as smooth as possible. Call Cody at 620-617-7320, or you can visit redcedarland.com. All right, over the final 4 or 5 minutes of the show here, I want to take a look at the upcoming college football schedule in a little more detail than I was able to last night. Or not last night, but yesterday afternoon. Tonight, we've got college football. We've got meaningful football. I believe we also have an NFL game tonight, don't we? Hold on. Brant types on the computer. That's what today is. Yeah, you've got the Washington Commanders visiting the Green Bay Packers, two teams that are 1-0 with some really fun storylines. Heck yeah. Tune into that one. That'll be a lot of fun. At the same time, NC State and Wake Forest. My goodness, we're getting spoiled tonight. NC State, Wake Forest kicks off at 6:30 on ESPN, and Commanders in Green Bay, that is at 7:15. I believe that's on Amazon Prime is where the Thursday night games are now. So be on the lookout for that one tonight. Do the split screen thing if you have YouTube TV like I do. It's how live sports are meant to be watched. What else is happening? Indiana State at Indiana. Indiana's going to run away with that one. I was thinking Iowa State. I read that as Iowa State. I was like, Iowa State's pretty good. It's Indiana State, doofus. All right. Kansas State at Arizona. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Fox. Does Kansas State turn it around? We talked with Wyatt Thompson on this show every Tuesday. He seems to think they can. I certainly hope they can. Kansas State just hasn't looked very good so far in the year. They're going to have to turn it around because Noah Fafita and that Arizona offense can put up points in a hurry. They are very, very talented. Looking at the Saturday slate, your headliner of the 11 a.m. hour, Clemson at Georgia Tech. I looked at it the other day. Georgia Tech is in the top 20 now, I believe. I kind of painted this as like an underrated Georgia Tech team. No, I think they're properly rated because I hadn't been paying attention to the AP polls. That's going to be a lot of fun. If you like the Group of Five, Memphis at Troy, two teams that are pretty great as far as Group of Five teams go. Troy took Clemson down to the wire last week, and Memphis is a pretty strong team. Oregon at Northwestern, that's a conference game. I think Oregon runs away with it, but it's a game that I'll be paying attention to for at least a little while just to see if Northwestern can do anything. I do think Oregon wins. I think Oregon has the ability to stake the claim as a top 5 team in the country right now. Northwestern doesn't have that, but I do think that game might be interesting for a little while. Wisconsin at Alabama, a game that Kalen DeBoer cannot afford to lose. I mean, good night. If somehow Wisconsin beats Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium, I mean, they may pay that buyout like before the game is over. That is definitely a pressure check for Alabama. Let's move into the afternoon at 2:30, Georgia at Tennessee. This is your highlight of the day. That game has a chance to be an absolute slobber knocker. It's going to be fantastic. Oregon State at Texas Tech has some weird potential. Oregon State, Pac-12 team, one of the two teams that never left the Pac-12. Texas Tech, a Big 12 team. Those are two teams that are decent. They are going to be going at each other. This is interesting. SMU at Missouri State. I think SMU wins that game easily, but going to Missouri State, that's kind of fun. USC at Purdue. That's a Power 4 game. Why not? I'm trying to look for anything else that's interesting. Oh, I highlighted this at the very end of yesterday's show. South Florida at Miami. South Florida has gotten 2 big wins in a row, including beating the University of Florida last week in a paycheck game. That game kicks off at 3:30 on the CW. Heck yeah, CW. And, Miami looks good. That can be derailed very quickly with a bad loss to South Florida, who looks like they're into giving people bad losses right now. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Yeah, that'll be fun. I like it because I'm from SEC territory. That'll be a lot of fun. It should be. And what else is happening? Florida at LSU. That game's always weird, so tune into that. Gosh, I love college football. We've got so many good games. Vanderbilt at South Carolina. That game's going to be weird. A lot of good vibes at Vanderbilt right now. Texas A&M at Notre Dame is your highlight of the evening slate. 2 teams that I think are really good. They're going to be going at it. Should be a fun defensive-heavy game. Boston College at Stanford. 2 teams that are in the ACC, even though they're on opposite coasts. That's just where we are in college football. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. We're back tomorrow with more Sports Day. I've been Brant Daughtry. Thank you for having me. Big thanks to Landon Winkler. Big thanks to Aaron Beck. Big thanks to Cole Reif. We're back tomorrow with more Sports Day here on 1590 KBGB and 95.5 FM.